Hey guys, welcome back to the Engineered Angler. Today we're going to figure out how to make some of these eyes. Well, I've been making these scorpion jump frogs for a few months now. They're the ones with the magnetized hook that sort of drops down when it gets hit. And I've been using these frog eyes. And these are actually eyes that are meant for frog dolls, I guess. And you can see they have a pin and they got a washer that locks them in behind the fabric, I guess. They're 12 millimeters in diameter, and you can see it has that classic shape of the pupil. And these things are getting hard for me to find, but locally the store I was buying them in no longer has them. So I want to make my own. Plus, I'm getting kind of tired of just the green. I want to see if I can do something a little cooler. So let's go ahead and get started. So I've already made this little mold box, sort of half a mold box, and I would have shown you how I make it at a Lego box, but it's embarrassing how long it takes me to make one of these things. So I'm going to go ahead and show you. I'm just going to take these and just place them. It doesn't matter how they look. The idea is that you get them in tight enough in the clay so none of the silicone that I pour on top is going to go around and in there and cause a little bit of a kind of a skirt on the bottom. I don't want to have to clean it up or anything. I don't want to embed them too far because I don't want to have different shaped ones, but they need to be in there far enough. I'm going to go ahead and keep putting these eyes in the clay, and as soon as I'm done, we'll look at pouring the silicone. Okay, so now that I've got this all set up, all the eyes are in. So I've already made the frame, the riser, up on the box. So I have the volume above the eyes to pour the silicone on. So to calculate the amount of silicone I'm going to use, I'm going to just do a straight measurement of width, length, and depth. So it's an 8 centimeter by 3 centimeters by 1 centimeter. That's pretty easy, right? So I'll go ahead and just use 24 cubic centimeters or 24 milliliters. It's the same thing. So as usual, I'm going to mix by weight. This is a Smooth On Mold Max, and I've already tested it. It's 1.12 grams per milliliter. So since I'm doing 24 milliliters, that's 1.12. That's 26.88. We'll call it 27. There you go. 27.12, that's close enough. Alright, now I just need to shake part B. Now I just need to get part B in there. It's 10 to 1. There you go, 2.4 milliliters. And hopefully I didn't splash too much out. Alright, and now comes the boring part, which is mixing, and then I'll pour it. Alright, let's go ahead and put this riser on there. Get it nice and tight. Alright, so like I was saying, always scrape your stick and make sure you don't leave anything on that stick that hasn't been mixed. Okay, and the nice thing about paper cups is you can actually squeeze them like a tube of toothpaste and get every last bit out. I guess I had no waste. It's still flowing, so bubbles will still come out. And now it's just a matter of waiting. And call me fussy, but I like to level the mold so that when it sets, I get a nice even top. Alright, well, it's been quite a few hours. Actually, it's been like 4 days since I've been able to get back to this. The nice thing about this is that it's one pour of silicone, and I should be able to use it immediately. All right. Well, there it is. I should be able to just pull it right off our master and get a relatively, oh yeah, perfect. Let me show you how glassy these guys came out. You can see how glassy the surface on the inside is. I'm going to pour these in clear resin, obviously, but I'm going to use the UV Cure resin. This is the Chinese brand. So I'm going to use this. This is just a squirt cap from another bottle, but it happens to fit perfectly on this bottle. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap it in foil. Okay, there it is. It's not beautiful, but it's going to be effective, I think. Alright, so I've got this open, and I'm going to allow the material to flow down to the tip real slowly. So I've just angled it just a little bit. I don't want it to capture a bunch of air. And then I'm going to test it, and I can see I got a nice drop going. I'm going to make contact with the bottom, and I don't want to add bubbles, so I'm being real careful not to. And like I said, I'm filling it about 80% full. Okay, I've got them filled. There's one or two with some surface bubbles, and I'm going to let those pop. But notice that I've got it sitting on a hard piece of plastic here, and that's so I don't have to handle the mold, because the mold is kind of flexy. And now I'm going to take it over to the UV light. Set up a couple of pieces of wood so I can get this up there. It's pretty level, and you really do want it kind of level so you don't end up with a bunch of uneven eyes. So that'll take about 2 minutes. Alright, so we've got some nice smooth surfaces on the backs of these. That's going to make it perfect. So the next step is to start to paint this. Now what you got to remember is that we're going to be painting from like the front to the back. So you have to layer the paints accordingly. So the first thing that has to go on all of them is a pupil. Also, you can use just about anything else that has a shape on it that you like. This is a little metal erasure shield. It's meant for erasing, for again, hand drafting or sketching. And it's got a little, let's see if you can see it in there, it's got a little elongated sort of, it's not even an oval, it's just a round-ended slot. So I'll just place this on each one of the little eyes and airbrush black, and that'll be my pupil, the little slotted pupil. And I'll start here and move to my left. Okay, so now at this point, if you've got a pupil you don't like, one that doesn't look great, you can always clean it off with a little alcohol and start again. So what I typically do is I'll spray paint the next layer of paint. And what I like to put down is either a metallic, a pearlescent, or one of those color shift colors. But there's also another way to go that's a little easier, and let me show you what that is. So I'll grab a couple of these and we'll use it in that other technique. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my favorite green holographic tape, and this really is the easiest, quickest way to do this. So I'm going to put a drop of UV resin right on here. Doesn't take much, and I'll drop it on top of the, now you want enough resin that it covers the whole inside, but not so much that it oozes out too much. You can ooze it just a little. Alright, so the next step, as you might have guessed, is to take it over to the UV light. And I'll give that another 15 or 20 seconds. And you end up with some pretty interesting looking little eyes. So the next deal is either to cut it with a razor knife or a pair of scissors. I like to use the scissors. So that does a decent job, and what's really nice about this is that you end up with a nice looking eye that has a sticky back, and you can just peel off the back and stick it on your favorite lure. Okay, so now I just need to paint the backs of these eyes, and I'm going to use this color shift paint, and I'm going to use Solar Anomaly, which is kind of a pink to an orange to a yellow. This one is called Borealis Green, and it goes sort of blue-violet green. This one is mostly violet. It's called Evil Forest, and it goes violet to green. And this one is called Pinky Blue, and it goes from blue to a very light pink. So let's start off with this one. Okay, so that should do it. I've got enough paint on there. The next trick is to coat the back with black. You have to do that for this color shift paint to really come into its own. It really needs to be on a black base. Now we need to let that dry. Okay, so they're pretty much dry, and I can pull them out and use them just like this. But since I'm going to probably have these things laying around for a while, I want to protect the back, because if it gets scratched in the back, it ruins it. So I'm going to put a coat or two of the polyacrylic. This is what I usually use for a mid coat. Alright, so now we can get these out of here. Let's see if they just fall out. And you can see the paint comes right off the silicone, so you gotta be real careful not to have the paint come off the back of your eyes as well. Alright, so here you can really see that color shift. Pretty cool. Really goes from a deep blue green all the way to a violet. Really neat. Really love it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I'm really liking the look of these eyes. Even with as sloppy as I was painting those pupils, I still think they're going to look great on those frogs. So I'm going to take some photographs of this, and then I'll do a slideshow right at the end of the video. But thank you for sticking around. And if you haven't subscribed, certainly subscribe. And if you've got questions on any of this stuff, feel free to ask them in the description, and I'll try my best to answer them. Thanks a lot, and I'll catch you on the next video.